Judge?
Nicole, it's unimaginable to me that the Supreme Court will decide this case before the last day of the term, which typically is around July 1st. If that's true, then it's equally unimaginable to me that the former president will be tried before the election in November.
That's shocking.
I think that, we don't know, but against my belief that the court would not take the case, I infer that there must be some dissent on the court by some number of the justices on the question of whether this president has absolute immunity for the particular offenses against the United States with which he's been charged by Jack Smith.
No, I mean, who could that be?
It could be...
Just based on past writings and what we know about them.
Well, I actually, as I said, I don't understand there to be an argument at all for any absolute immunity. But as my colleagues and I wrote in a brief to the Court of Appeals and also to the Supreme Court, if there's one thing that the former president can never be immune from prosecution for, it's for his effort to overturn the 2020 election and remain in power beyond the constitutionally prescribed 4 years. If the Supreme Court were to hold that the former president is immune from prosecution for that, then I don't even know what to say.
Do you believe that Clarence Thomas would have recused himself because of the role that his wife played in sending messages, contemporaneous text messages and emails to state legislators in states the Trump side viewed as contested that never really were?
Based on, his decision as to like matters in the past, I do not expect that he did or will recuse himself from decision on this question either.
Should he?
That's for him to decide together with his colleagues in the Supreme Court.
This is an extraordinary moment, Tim Heaphy. The United States Supreme Court, which I should point out is 20% at best, less popular now than it was when it decided Bush v. Gore, has decided with one of its justices married to Ginny Thomas, who your investigation turned up, and she became a voluntary witness to testify to messages she doesn't deny sending to White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, who today was denied the opportunity to move his case to federal court, is one of 9 human beings who will decide whether Trump has immunity over an insurrection.
Yeah, and Mrs. Thomas told us that she didn't discuss this with her husband, that they keep their professional lives separate, whether or not that Ivanka Trump told us that she didn't discuss January 6th with her husband either. Hard to know whether...
Which is actually fine, and give them the benefit of the doubt and say they did. But this is about a court that's 20% less esteemed in the views of the American people than it was in 2020 after it decided Bush v. Gore.
Yeah, and your point about esteem is a good one, Nicole, because I think while this sets the trial back, as Judge Luttig said, chances of it happening before the election are at best questionable, maybe even unlikely. If the Supreme Court does affirm resoundingly, even with 1 or 2 on the other side, the concept that a president is not immune, then it does give the prosecution ultimately arguably more legitimacy. And if the ultimate audience here is not just the jury that sits and hears the allegations, but America, in terms of the sort of the rule of law and does it matter, then maybe one of the weird silver linings of this is while delay, it does give the potential imprimatur of the Supreme Court affirmance of the well-reasoned D.C. Circuit opinion, and it just sort of emphasizes 100% unequivocally, president is not above the law. And that's a good thing long term.
But we keep doing that, right? It's a great thing that Aileen Cannon is the judge in Mar-a-Lago. A case so open and shut, Bill Barr can't stop telling everyone how screwed Trump is legally.
Right.
But it's a good thing that Aileen Cannon has it, someone who's never really done a trial. I mean, we could, it's like a race to the bottom to talk about all these delays as, oh, it could be a good thing. You could win over the Trump voters. I saw some of the Trump voters in Von Hilliard's reporting from the field. I mean, they're in with Putin now.
Yeah. Look, delay is a bad thing. There's no question. Accountability, requires adjudication of this case, his day in court, vigorous cross-examination, the presumption of innocence. It is time to get there, and this makes that more unlikely to happen before the election. I hope that it does. As Andrew said, there are some silver linings here in terms of the expedited consideration. They're going to hear it the week of April 22nd. They could decide quickly before the end of the term. Judge Luttig knows far better than I how these things work. So there's a chance it happens before. But prosecutors never like delay. Prosecutors want to go fast. I wish that the prosecutors at the Department of Justice had moved faster, but now they want to move as fast as possible, and this makes that harder.